Hey,
Well, good morning. Welcome back.
you're lively. Good morning to you too.
I chugged a whole mess of coffee.
Ooh, I just had my very first sip.
Oh wow, the tables have turned today, my friend. You're going to be the one that's got the hot takes, and Rob's going to be right on the money for the first time ever. No, probably not. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of. We don't really have a title for this, but me and Lego get together every week here on the Stereo app and talk about movies, television, all sorts of stuff. We got a big show coming up for you today. We're going to be talking about most disappointing movie endings. Could be a great film. You just wish the ending was better. All that kind of stuff in between. Message us in your questions, comments, concerns, and thoughts, and your takes. We will be playing all of the messages today and getting right down to it. All right. Where would you like to start, Lego?
Well, I'm going to start with, I think a lot of mine are kind of obscure picks now that I'm looking at it, but I'm going to start with City of Angels, which I feel like a lot of people dislike the end of that movie. If you're not familiar with the film, it's the one where Nick Cage plays a Grim Reaper, and he falls in love with Meg Ryan because who wouldn't? She's Meg Ryan. We all loved her. It was a thing. And then he falls he's like a fallen angel so that he can be human and be with her. They have one night together. The next morning, Meg Ryan dies, and that's the end of the fucking movie. Well, Nick Cage goes off and swims in the ocean, but basically, yeah, that's the end of the damn movie. Sorry. What? What is even the point of that? Why would you kill her off after one day? That was that was one of the most messed up endings. I saw this when I was maybe, I don't know, 14, and I just walked away. I was fuming. It was just so it was so dumb. There was no need for it. It wasn't even
The only
sad. Like I think they were going for sad. It wasn't. It was just aggravating.
Yes. The only good thing that came out of City of Angels was that Goo Goo Doll song, Iris, that everybody seemed to decide to fucking play for the next 15 years. Yeah, I agree. It's a fine movie. I'm not, I love Meg Ryan. She still is America's sweetheart as far as I'm concerned. I believe she's with John Mellencamp now, so that really kind of doubles down on that whole Americana thing for her. But Nicolas Cage, it's one of those. He's got so many great movies, and then he's got so many movies that everybody they're memorable. Like everybody knows City of Angels, but it's just not. It's just really not a good movie in general, especially like in retrospect. Like when it first came out, it was passable, but I guarantee you, if people went back to watch it now, they would find it. They would just find it to be not passable. It's just not a great movie to begin with. And the ending just, you're right, it just blows it up.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. We got a message. We're going to play this real quick. Uh, do.
Hey guys, I just wanted to introduce myself. Huge movie buff here. Um, Definitely love this idea. Most disappointing movie endings. I would say that one, I forget the name of it, but Javier Bardem was in it and he won the Oscar for it. And Josh Brolin was in it. Oh gosh, I forget the name of it, but that was such a great movie until the very end. I was so disappointed with the ending of it.
So we're talking about, let's see, hold on. Why is my phone screwing up? You're talking about one of my favorite movies of all time, which is No Country for Old Men, released in 2007 by the Coen brothers. I partially agree with what you have to say. Was the ending somewhat anticlimactic? Yes. But I love that movie for so many other reasons that I guess, and that's what's cool about this conversation. I guess I kind of rose colored glasses past the ending. It's passable for me because the rest of the movie is so well done that it's like Castaway. That's a movie that I put on my list. I couldn't stand the ending of that movie because it's like this motherfucker's stuck on an island for all these years, and then he comes home. Helen Hunt's remarried, and the movie ends with him at the crossroads, not really knowing what he's going to do with his life now. And it's like, that's it. Like, that's it. This dude was stuck on an island for all this time, and he comes home, and that's it. That's all you're going to give us. So I get your point with No Country for Old Men, because it's somewhat anticlimactic, but great film though.
So I don't remember the opening for Castaway, but I know it's one of those movies that the opening shot and the closing shot mirror each other.
Yes.
Which is something movies do, and that's pretty cool.
Robert Zemeckis does it a lot. It's Forrest Gump's the same way.
And I totally disagree. It just kind of shows. It kind of shows how life kind of goes on no matter what. And I think that's very realistic in terms of the ending. And I love that he goes and gives the package to that woman. And then at the end, the crossroads, it shows that now he has options. I liked it. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of another movie that the ending was just really just awful. I mean, I could think of like in, like some movies that just are awful altogether, like Jaws: The Revenge. That's just shit. But yeah, I have to think.
Oh, here I saw a Lego rant.
Okay, I know everyone likes to shit on Jaws: The Revenge, but okay,
it's terrible. It's a terrible movie.
I love Lance Guest. Come on. Who doesn't like Last Starfighter? Who doesn't like Halloween 2? I love that guy.
Rob Fishback, that's who.
And I'm sorry, Jaws at the water park in Jaws 3D is so much worse than Jaws 4. Come on.
Listen,
Come on. And how funny is it that the shark wants revenge? It's personal this time, Rob. It's personal this time.
They should have never. They didn't even need to make a second one. Like, everybody forgot about French Connection 2. I think we should just forget about all other Jaws movies other than the first one. Same with a lot of, it's, how do I phrase this? The thing, the title is what it is, because we literally could just talk about movies that are just bad, that also have bad endings. But we figured it would be slightly more fun to talk about like movies that are either okay or fine or good or great, that just have endings that are not the best. I didn't know you were a big fan of the Jaws: The Revenge. I mean, really?
Horror movies, Rob. I love them horror movies. And every great iconic horror movie villain has to have a revenge.
Yeah, but those are just ways for studios to make money.
Revenge, and Michael's revenge. I don't know if Jason had a revenge. I don't think Jason did.
Jason's had enough movies. It's a way for studios to toy with fans' minds and manipulate them into giving them their money. I think
if they just have to make the money. They just have to make the movie. If you make the movie, they will come. That's not a scam. That's not a scam. They made a movie. People went to see a movie. Now, if you didn't make a movie, have you ever seen a movie that they didn't have any of the scenes from the ad in the movie? Now, that's a scam.
Okay, that's true. But what I mean by it's a scam is Jaws is a fantastic piece of cinema. It's a great piece of art. And then they make these sequels that people are going, oh, well, the first one was so great. This is going to be like The Godfather.
I feel like it's your fault if you think the sequel's going to live up to the OG.
Right. And then you go watch the third, especially the third and the fourth one, and you're going, this isn't The Godfather 2. This isn't Empire Strikes Back. This is a heaping pile of fucking shit. That stinks.
Nah, it's your own fault if you think the sequel is going to live up to the original. That's on you. Taper your expectations, children.
Some do, some are better. All right, we got a few more messages to play. Let's get to them.
Okay, but Jaws the Revenge, the shark barks. It growls. You know, it travels from two different oceans with two different temperatures,
It's
follows her
personal.
telepathically, you know, communicates with her telepathically, has this revenge of sharks from so many years ago. It just, oh, Lord have mercy. I mean, it would have been a good movie, but I don't know. Yeah.
They weren't communicating telepathically. The wife was beginning to see the future. Whole other different thing.
I agree with Paul.
That's fair.
We got one more message to play, and it's all good because this is all spoiler stuff because we're talking about movie endings. So, Nicholas, don't worry about spoiling stuff. That's the whole conversation. Got one more message to play real quick.
You know what else is a crazy anomaly is when a movie is so bad but the ending is so good. Like there was that movie with Josh Hartnett where he plays like this hitman or something. I forget what it was, but the movie was so boring. And then finally at the very end it was like it was so amazing that it was like, oh my gosh, that was an incredible ending. And you know, like yeah, it was like there's movies like that, and then of course then there's movies where it's like the idea is good but then the acting is so bad, like Showgirls. But I will say this though, that Jaws the Revenge is so bad that it's good. Showgirls is so bad that it's good, that it's like it's entertaining. Like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is so bad that it's good. You know, it's a little
Okay,
painful but it's
Freddy's
good.
Revenge. I like Freddy's Revenge. That's like the queerest horror movie.
I honestly like. I remember the third one was Dream Warriors. I've
Yeah.
seen them all, but I don't know which one is which. So, all right, I'm gonna move on. Let's go to another movie. What say you, Lego? What's another one of your picks?
All right, so another one of my picks is The Legend of Hell House, which is a 1973 horror film with Roddy McDowall. And it's based on a book by Richard Matheson that I really like. And they really followed the book, which is unfortunate. So the whole movie, it's a haunted house movie. You have a group of scientists and people who do stuff with ghosts. So they're like psychics, come to this house. They're hired by a rich person to see if there are ghosts in the house. And it turns out there are. And, obviously, some of these people are going to die. They're killed by the ghosties. And it gets to the end. So it's just Roddy McDowall and this one woman who are left alive. And Roddy McDowall is talking to the ghosts, Belasco. And he's trying to make fun of the ghost and intimidate the ghost so the ghost will like knock it off. And he reveals like why the ghost Velasco was like such a terrible person in life and why he's haunting and why he's just such a terrible dude. And I'm not kidding. The reason is because he was short in stature. He was like less than 5 feet tall. That's why
Yeah,
he's haunting the house. And I think I just walked away. I actually screamed at the TV, what kind of Twinkie bullshit is this? That's like the worst, most disappointing anticlimactic ending I've ever seen.
I hear you, 100%. I've never seen that movie, so I really can't weigh in too much on it. But now I'm definitely never gonna watch it. So that's the upside. I'm gonna throw out. Rob's always full of hot takes here. Things get kind of crazy. I can make people very irritated very quickly. So I'm gonna throw out a movie that it's one of my favorite movies from the last 10 years. Now, before I say this, I've seen all of the other versions of it. This was the fourth version of the film. The first two versions I haven't seen since I was like a kid. The Streisand Christopherson version I saw probably when I was like 15, and I vaguely remembered the ending. Opening day, I went and saw A Star Is Born, the 2018 version. And I've seen it like 10 times since then. It's one of just the best movies. It's my genre of music. For those of you listening, I'm a musician. That's what I did full time before COVID. And it's similar to style of music that I play: Americana, country rock, singer-songwriter stuff. We're talking about A Star Is Born. It's a phenomenal movie for a million reasons. And I'm sitting in that movie theater, and we get to the last 10 minutes of it, and he goes in the garage and he takes his belt off, and I'm going, why is he taking his belt off? He's got to go meet up with her. And then the ending unfolds the way it does, and I'm sitting in the theater going, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he kills himself? What the fuck? And I've seen it all these other times, and every single time I watch it, I get to the ending and I'm like, why did it have to end that way? Like, why couldn't they live happily ever after? So that's one of my, just a personal thing. But what say you, Lego? You've never seen that movie, right?
No, I have not.
Okay. You got another one?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so this one, all right, stick with me. Snow White. So you got little Snow.
1937?
Yep, 1937 Disney film, Snow White. You got little Snow, and she's a princess. Her stepmom's the evil queen. Stepmom wants her dead. She runs away. She meets these dwarves. There's a huntsman after him. She eats a poison apple. She goes comatose. The little creepy dwarves build her a glass coffin because that makes sense. The evil queen, I think, gets struck by lightning and dies. That was just random and good. I guess everyone lucked out. Little Snow is in the glass coffin for a year, and some prince, which I got questions about this prince, walks up on her. So I'll start with the questions about okay, I'll just finish the movie actually. So a prince walks up on her, asks the dwarves if he can kiss her. She wakes up, they ride off together. Credits roll. I have some follow-up, so pause those credits, rewind the movie. Many questions. First of all, this prince, where is he a prince of? Is he a prince where she's a princess, so they're related? Or is he a prince of a different country and they have taken over her country or are taking over their country? I'm just asking, is her country or her region at war? And her going off with him, is she now, are people going to realize she's technically the queen of this area? Many questions on that front. Another question, Snow was supposed to be like 13 and she's technically been, so this prince, how old is he? Also, did those dwarves, did they check his ID before they let this 13-year-old ride off with him? Is he actually a prince? Is this like one of those email princes? And okay, you see a girl who's in a coffin. Your thought is, I want to get my lips up on that. Many questions about that. She's also been like comatose for a year. Does she have any side effects? Is she older or is she still 13? Or is she now 14? Yeah, many questions. It's a weird ass ending that resolved. There are so many things left to be said when the movie's credits roll. I'm just very concerned for Snow and her country.
I don't even know what to say right now. I mean, I've never really given it that much thought, but you bring up fantastic points. 100%.
You know, the brain doesn't rest. The brain doesn't rest.
Excuse me. Sorry, I had to cough.
I'm just here to tell you that A Star Is Born is a terrible movie, and here's why. It's basically about a toxic codependent relationship where a woman sticks by a man who is like mentally and emotionally abusive to her throughout the entire plot. and she stays by his side the whole time. Like, it's a bad movie. Movies shouldn't be promoting unhealthy relationships like that.
I mean, you make a great point. Like, that's the thing about people in entertainment, and I can speak for myself. I'm not, mentally or emotionally abusive as far as I know to people, but there, the insecurities, the drugs and alcohol, the whole shebang. I get it. I mean, those are all valid points. I watched the movie going, yeah, that seems like the life of rock and roll 110%. So that's you make really good points. And that is true. He was just fucked up the whole movie. And she stood by his side, even though he was fucked up the whole time and treated her kind of like garbage. So I probably will look at the movie a little differently now after hearing that. So good points right there. We've got a few more messages to play, Lego. We're going to get through these real quick.
I agree with about the Star is Born ending. Seemed abrupt and just idiosyncratic with everything else that had happened in the movie before. I mean, he went through this whole process of getting rehabilitated and whatnot. What would have made more sense if they wanted to end it like tragically with him dying? What would have made way more sense to me and been more consistent with what had happened previously was if he had just, relapsed and then OD'd on whatever he was taking. That would have been still unnecessarily like depressing and tragic, but at least would have been consistent with what had been going on before. Him just deliberately, overtly killing himself because of one conversation with the publicist. Like, I'm with you. It just kind of fell flat for me as well.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Great points. First.
But Cranston, I love you very, very much, but this is real life. This is like showing what addiction is like. Like literally, it's such a emotional toll on the person. It's like, it really is an illness that Bradley Cooper's character has, that it's like he's using this as he's using for an addiction. It's like, and like you even see it, like Gaga's character says, this is not your fault. This is not your fault. You have an illness and all that. I mean, and she's standing by him because she loves him. I mean, but yes, when he uses and all that, he turns into this monster, but he gets clean in the end. But then that fucking producer guy, damn bastard.
Exactly.
Rob, I have a feeling you're not going to like me after this little take, but here it goes. The Godfather Part 1, when I first saw it, I felt so disappointed by the ending. Sure, from Michael Corleone's perspective, he's rising in the ranks of Godfather, but when I rewatch it, I cannot help but feel sorry for Diane Keaton's character. You want to talk about someone who's been put through a lot. Kay marries, she's in love with Michael, and she feels as if she sees a future with him. Then, because of the family business, she loses him. He ghosts her for almost a year and a half, and then he comes back as if things are going to pick up like it's normal. And then next thing, and of course, she takes him back. And then in the end, turns out this dude's going to spend the rest of their lives lying to her about the fact that he's going to be involved in the family business. Of course, they make up for it in part 2, well, sort of. But even then, part 1 kind of shows you just how fucked up that.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. I understand. It's still the greatest movie ever made. I will argue that for the rest of eternity. But I get what you're saying, Caramel Pain.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and play the next message.
Is Caramel Pain coming to us live from a rave? What is going on right now?
Yes, Caramel Pain is always at a rager. That's just facts.
So I'm not saying that they shouldn't make a movie about what it's like dealing with addiction. I don't think it's really great to make a movie about how a woman was that in love with someone who was so abusive to her, and then like at the end she sings a love song to him. um it just seems like it was glorifying that relationship and their love, but it was such an unhealthy relationship that it was nothing to glorify in the first place. So I've seen plenty of movies that deal with addiction, but I don't think it's really a good plot to spotlight an unhealthy relationship like that. And that's what I'm saying.
So I've not seen A Star is Born because kind of for that reason, because it just looked like it was going to be another one of those like romance movies that was not depicting a healthy relationship. And I'm at a point where I just don't like watching those movies. And that is like almost every rom-com. Like there are particularly like ones in the 80s and 90s where it's just I just find them unwatchable kind of because I really don't like watching movies where it's like the fact that those two ended up together, like the ending of The Revenge of the Nerds, that the main guy essentially and in terms of, legally, raped that chick and they end up together. And I find that very bothersome. Very bothersome indeed. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, and I totally agree. Depicting those types of unhealthy relationships is not where it's at in the 21st century.
All right. So, has anybody seen the 2010 film Remember Me with
I was
Robert
going to talk
Pattinson?
about that. Totally
Okay.
agree.
Listen, I saw that in the theater.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you what. Went and saw that with somebody on a Sunday, like early afternoon. I'll never forget it. Sitting in the theater and I'm going, it wasn't my choice to go see the movie. I was like, I'll go. Fine. We're sitting there. Movie plays. Halfway through the movie, I'm going, this movie's really good. I'm really digging this movie. This is definitely one of the, because this is when Robert Pattinson, the whole Twilight thing was going on. They were halfway through making that series. I'd been trapped. I had to watch some of those, not by choice, but, guys got to do what a guy's got to do sometimes, and I'm going, this movie's legitimate. And then it gets to that final scene where the camera pans out and you see where Robert Pattinson's character is at.
Well,
and it says September. Go ahead.
I was going to, can I change that a little? They pan out, they're juxtaposing him and they're cutting back and forth between him and his sister in the classroom. And you're right, it pans out in the classroom and it shows the date for the first time. Because I don't think they had said what year this movie takes place any time before this. At any point did they say when it took place. Nope. And it panned out and they show the date on the classroom and then it shows where he is. And you can take it over. That just bothered me so much.
Well, and I only saw it once, so I'm glad because I forgot about the school thing. I know they showed the date. And then they pan out on the building, and you see it's the Twin Towers, and it's September 11th,
the date's 9/11, 2001. They pan out. He's in one of the Twin Towers, and you're just sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me, movie? You shoehorned in 9/11. You easily could have had him go to a gas station and just get shot and killed. But instead you shoehorned in 9/11 so unnecessarily. Like, this movie's not only a bad ending, it's slightly offensive.
Very much so. Because to me, it's like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. It's like, him and his dad finally kind of like, it's just, the whole movie was supposed to be great. And then they ended it the way they did. And it was disappointing. Oh, Woof City, kids. Woof, Woof City.
Okay.
All right, we got a message to play. Let's play this real quick.
So I guess this sort of ties in with movies with endings that I didn't like, but it's actually from a series as well. So Sex and the City. Carrie has this like on again, off again relationship with Mr. Big, who was really like pretty mentally abusive to her, and she like keeps going back to him, and they end up getting married in the end, and it's just like really unrealistic to think that like that relationship just turned healthy at some point. And I think it sends the wrong message to women or people in general that their partner can change if you just stick it out. I don't like that.
So I totally Rob's about to rant. I totally agree with what you're saying. I've probably seen, once again, not necessarily by choice in my lifetime, probably 20 episodes of Sex and the City, the television show. I saw the first movie. I did not see the sequel. But it's like, that is not real life. Nothing about that show or those movies are real life whatsoever. Yet, I know so many people that are like, oh, I just want to be, I just want to live that kind of life and, be like Carrie and all. And no. Oh, I guarantee you people like that really exist on this planet. And that's, once again, that's why we're doomed.
For sure.
That's why we're doomed. Sex in the City, nah.
Nah.
Not for me, kids. Not for me.
Yeah, not for me either.
We've got another message from Carmel Payne.
Okay. Actually, speaking on romance films, I normally have like a back and forth with Nicholas Sparks movies. I get they're based off of book adaptations, but even then, the movie Safe Place or Safe House, whatever that movie that has Josh Duhamel in it, that Nicholas Sparks film, the ending really kind of was really disappointing, because at first I was definitely loving the film, how it was about a woman trying to escape a toxic relationship and then finds herself in the arms of a good man and who has a family. And then towards the end, it's revealed that one of her neighbors, who she's been talking to, having these like soulful sessions with, turns out to be the spirit of Josh Duhamel's ex-wife. And I just go, wait, what? Where the hell did that come from? There was no sign of that happening there. That's almost as bad as the twist from Remember Me. Almost.
Yeah, I want to be honest with you. I don't know if there's been any that have come out in the last like 2 or 3 years, but I actually just got it pulled up right now. Okay, I've seen every single, I haven't seen The Choice, but I've seen Longest Ride. I've seen every single Nicholas Sparks film adaptation, and their Rotten Tomato scores are not great at all. The Notebook has the best, and it's got a 53%. The name of the movie is Safe Haven, by the way, and I completely agree, Ryan. 100%. It's not.
Is that the one? Is that the one where Kobe Smulders plays like the ghost of the dude's dead wife?
Let me see. Because I'm trying to remember it, to be completely honest. Yes, you are correct.
I feel like at the
That
end,
is correct.
like the chick befriends Kobe Smulders, and at the end you learn that was a weird choice. Not to be confused with The Choice, just an interesting choice in terms of plot. Yeah.
100%. We got another message.
Also, I just want to spotlight this movie because I think it shows someone in a toxic relationship and deals with it in a way that is unparalleled to any movie that I've ever seen before. And I find it to be a pretty happy ending myself. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but that movie is Midsommar. If you have not seen Midsommar, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Having dealt with someone who was who gaslighted me in a relationship, that movie is primo for me.
Oh my God, yes, I've been saying that is the best breakup movie ever. Yes, 100% agree.
I don't like Midsommar. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Rob, we get it. You don't like Midsommar.
I know.
Bah,
We got another message to play real quick.
The movie Drive.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that movie. Well, I mean, it's hard to forget the movie because the soundtrack is so fucking great. The 75% of that movie is fantastic. But yes, I agree. The ending to that, not a huge fan.
Remind me how it ends?
A lot of people get killed from what I remember. It's just like a big. Remember Christina Hendricks from Mad Men's in it? She gets whacked. It's just like a whole. It's just it's another one of those like. They're doing so good, and they just don't stick the landing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
I do really like Nicholas Winding Refn. His movie Neon Demon.
Okay.
So fucking weird. I'm trying to think about the ending of that movie. Oh, the ending of that movie is just wildly strange. I don't know if I like it or not.
Yeah,
it's difficult to tell.
For sure. All right, I'm gonna. You want to throw another movie out there?
Yeah, man. Fucking Pay It Forward.
Oh, yes. Great concept, terrible ending.
Yeah. Okay. So this movie, it's with the little kid from The Sixth Sense, Haley Joel Osment. Yeah. And so he has a class assignment, and what he decides to do is create this this idea of pay it forward. So when someone does something nice for someone else, they just ask that person to pay it forward and do a kind act for another person. And hopefully that will spread, and that people will just be doing, nice things for each other, and the world will be a little bit of a better place. And we see this boy in his life, and we also see people who are, going through kind acts and paying them forward to other people. So we see the social movement that this child has created. And I think at the end, we're supposed to get this idea that, you matter. You make a difference. Your life and your choices affect people, and they will affect people beyond just your life. But how they chose to show that was to have this little boy try to help this kid at a school who'd been a bully, and the school bully pulls out a knife and fucking stabs and kills him. So you have this little boy who's like, I don't know, 10, gets murdered at the end of the movie. And it's like, what the fuck, movie? What you actually just said goes against what I think your ultimate goal was, which was to say, be kind to one another. You ended up just saying, if you're kind to each other, you're gonna get shanked and murdered, which is a horrible message.
Yeah, it definitely fudged the ending. And that's the thing, is that it's like filmmakers, I feel they usually do it for a reason. Studios usually only interfere when they want to make the ending happier, not necessarily sadder. So
yeah,
to me, there's always an artistic vision. It's just a lot of the times that vision doesn't necessarily translate to what the mass audiences want to see, especially after such a great concept of paying it forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right,
it's like they say, beginnings are easy, endings are hard.
Yes. I'm going to throw another one out there, which this one's going to be kind of weird, but Titanic.
Fuck you, Rob.
We all knew going into the movie that the boat was going to sink. So that's not what was disappointing. What was disappointing was that Rose told Jack, I'll never let you go. And
she didn't mean literally.
I know this now. We've talked about it off air. But to me, he couldn't get on that door or whatever that
Oh
was.
my God, Rob, I'm going full rant.
With her. I mean, literally
I'm going
10
full rant.
minutes later, they rescued her. You know, they could have tried it out.
He did. You clearly see in the movie, he tries to get on the floating piece of wood with Rose. And what happens? The wood starts to sink because it lacks the buoyancy necessary to carry both of their weight because it's not a fucking floaty. It's a piece of driftwood. People, I'm so shocked. Like, I thought this was a joke for so long when people were like, he could have fit on the wood, Rose. And I literally come to find out later, I'm like, oh, people literally don't understand what floating is. And we all need to go back to 7th grade science class. Has no one ever been swimming? What is happening? But yes, buoyancy. Buoyancy is a thing. If you are one of those people who are like, he could have fit on the Rose. He could have fit on the wood with you, Rose. You need to look up the word buoyancy, and you need to do a 7th grade science experiment. Oh my gosh. Lego rant concluded.
Lego rant concluded. All right, what do you got next?
Okay. So I went with this movie called An American Crime. So it is based on a true incident that happens. I don't recommend the movie. It's really fucking heart-wrenching. And the movie decided to go with a fake out ending. So what I mean by that is they're showing you what happened up to a point, and then it seems like this little girl, Sylvia Likens, it seems like she gets away and that she's going to live. And my little naive 15-year-old self totally bought into it. The reason being is when she gets away, like, it shows the struggle she has. It shows her with scars. It shows her crying over everything that happened to her. And it seems real. And then it cuts back and she's fucking dead. And I'm like, fuck you, movie. You gave me hope, you son of a bitch. And that was like one of the most upsetting films I've ever seen. There's another movie based on the same incident. I believe it's called The Girl Next Door or something along those lines.
The Girl Next Door.
That
with,
one's not as
the comedy movie, like the frat.
No,
boy
then that's not what
from...
it's called. I don't remember what it's called. I'd have to look it up. But there's two movies based on the same incident. This is the superior one of the two, but they're both bad movies. But this movie just had such a fuck you ending, and it's like it gives you hope when it shouldn't have. And it's not to say you can't have a fake out ending that seems like that, but there's just a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and they definitely did it the wrong way.
I agree. I've never seen these movies, but I agree with you because from what you're telling me, totally makes sense. All right, I'm going to throw out another movie. We're going to go with Gone Girl. I hated this ending. And to be honest with you, it tainted the whole movie for me. I am a huge David Fincher fan. He is easily one of my top 10, if not top 5 favorite directors of all time. He's made so many great films. I've still not seen Mank. I need to watch it. It's a whole thing. I need to watch a lot of movies. This, I mean, are you fucking kidding me? We get this whole movie and it's like, wow, this woman is just terrible. She is just a terrible person, just doing all of these things. And then what happens at the end of the movie? He takes her back. Begrudgingly, but he takes her back. And I'm going, my heart went out to Ben Affleck's character. And I'm just like, I want to come take you and bring you home with me so you don't have to deal with this abuse anymore. What a woof ending. It was so Like, what the fuck? Why? Why? You know, and it just made me so angry. So I rewatched the movie a couple of years ago and got 75% of the way through it. And I was like, man, this movie is so great. Like, Rosamund Pike does such a great job at just playing this. You just can't stand her, you know. And then it gets to the ending again, and I'm like, I still don't get it. I don't understand it. Lego, can you share some knowledge on me? Like, drop some knowledge, like why?
Oh, I really didn't fucking watch this movie. No part of me was ever gonna watch this.
Why?
Are you kidding me? Oh, I really want to watch a movie where the woman's the abuser to the poor downtrodden white man. Go fuck yourself, movie. We need more women making movies so we don't get bullshit like this anymore. Sorry, Lego rant came out hard. Came out so hard on that one.
Hardcore. Lego, do you have another movie you would like to talk about?
For sure. The Witch.
Yes.
The Witch is such a great movie. And you get to the end where Black Phillip is walking into the woods with whatever the fuck the main girl's name is. And just stop the movie there. Just pretend that's where the movie ends. No, don't pretend. That is where the movie ends. Listen to my lies. That's where the movie ends. Don't continue watching after they go into the woods. Because if you continue to watch as they go into the woods, then you get a stupid fucking CGI witch fest with all these girls floating in the air, and it was so dumb. It was so dumb. How do you have this fucking masterpiece of a movie? I love A24. That is a phenomenal studio, and they bring you these amazing fucking movies. But when it got to the end on that one, it was just, ooh, I wish I had stopped it when they walked into the woods, because that would have been the perfect movie. The ending took a 10 out of 10 and made it a 7 out of 10 for me.
I only saw it once. They go into the woods and then there's a bunch of witches floating?
Yeah, they go into the woods. She follows Black Phillip. And then they get to the woods. It's nighttime. There's the old witch. And then there's a bunch of young girls floating completely nude in the air by a fire. And it's and then she joins them. I'm like, well, that didn't need to happen. That's just dumb. That's just real dumb.
That's right. No, I remember that now. Yeah, that. All right. Let's see. I'll throw out another one. Oh, let's go with The Village.
Poor Shyamalan.
What?
I said poor Shyamalan.
Poor Shyamalan. So Shyamalan could do no wrong in 2004. We had the amazing The Sixth Sense, followed up by Unbreakable, which, though riding the momentum of Sixth Sense didn't perform as well, but in retrospect, it is easily one of his best films. It's so good. And then he comes back with Signs, which Signs is just one of my favorite movies. I have a hard time watching Mel Gibson because of all his anti-Semitic bullshit, but I thought Signs was an excellent movie. Here comes The Village. I go see it opening weekend. I'm 13 years old. I'm sitting in the theater, and the whole time I'm going, all right, what's the twist going to be, kids? What's the twist going to be? And we get to the twist, and I'm like, what? Wait, what? Are you kidding me? Wait, it's modern society, and why they live like it's the Quaker era, like it's the 1600s? What the fuck? I was so mad. I walked out of that movie going, he made a bad movie.
I disagree with that. I think that's just a taste and preference thing. But man, like, I liked that ending. I do agree that there is an editing decision that's made that does take the movie down quite a few notches, that if they had just moved to a scene around, it would be improved. And that's the reveal of the monsters. They needed to put that in later.
Oh, yes. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Because they reveal it to her, and then they show her out with the monster following her. But at this point, you already know there are no monsters. And they should have revealed it after, what's his name?
Adrian
falls into
Brody.
the hole. Yes, after Adrian Brody falls. And we see, her standing over him and that he's not actually a monster, then they should have revealed there aren't any monsters. That would have made the movie far superior. But the fact that it's in modern day, like that's the twist. I liked that twist.
Okay. And to be honest with you, that's like Lady in the Water. I didn't see it in the theater. I don't remember exactly why. I just missed it. And then I caught part of it on TV once. I never saw it. And then The Happening came out, and I actually did like that movie. I rented it when it came out on DVD. And then he did the Avatar movie, and then I fell off with Shyamalan. I've seen Split, I've seen Glass. The Visit was fine, but for me, that's when Shyamalan just kind of, it took a different direction.
It's interesting. I mean, I think I'm one of those rare people. I do like Lady in the Water. I think The Happening is super funny. I'm sure that's not what his intention was. I definitely love Unbreakable and Split and Glass. Avatar is oh god, an abomination. Woo.
See,
Awful.
I just found out recently that that's based on a cartoon. Like, I had no idea.
Oh my goodness, Rav.
Yeah, totally. All right, we got some messages to play. Let's get through these bad dogs.
Okay, I have this to say about The Notebook. I thought it was a pretty good movie, but to me, the ending, I thought it was unnecessarily sad. Like, I think it could have still been a good, successful movie without, like, adding that part at the end where, like, it was very much not a happy ending at all. And I don't know. I feel like it could have had a happier ending and still been successful as a movie, but instead it was like, I feel like there are a lot of stories that just in the end, in order to get people like hooked on it, they want you to cry, and that's the feeling I got from The Notebook.
Yeah, I love the ending to The Notebook, but I understand why people wouldn't like the ending to The Notebook. Totally understand.
I haven't seen it since the year it came out. The ending, she has dementia or something?
Yeah, well, that's the whole plot of the movie. He's reading to her, basically, like, refreshing her memory on their whole life story. It's a beautiful film. I've seen it at least 5 times all the way through, and then bits and pieces a couple other times. It makes me believe in love 100%.
Aww.
And it's such a great movie. So, all right, got some more. All right, playing the next message.
Without question, the ending of a Serbian film was extremely disappointing.
Oh, Jesus.
I was expecting the film to be wrapped up. Yeah, it's an evil film, but I was expecting it to be wrapped up with some form of grace and decorum. And it's the polar opposite thing of how you can describe the ending of a Serbian film.
Jesus, that movie. Fuck that movie. I haven't seen all of it, but I've that's very, very much difficult movie to get through. I think I saw some of it. I saw enough of it. I saw too much of it. The fact that I saw any of it. Although I will say the theme song is fucking amazing and may or may not be my ringtone. And I acknowledge that that's disturbing and I'm inappropriate for doing it. And I'm probably going to hell for it. But I'm okay with that because it's a good song. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I'm totally lost. Like, I don't even know if I've heard of this movie.
You probably haven't. It's one of those movies that are really wow. Okay, so it's very disturbing. It's probably one of the most disturbing movies ever made. I know people like to attribute that to Cannibal Holocaust, but this makes the Cannibal Holocaust look like, a kindergarten tea party. It is so disgusting and vile and just evil. But this one, it does have a plot. I will give it that. Again, I mentioned it has a great theme song. And the filmmaker said that he saw this as being like a metaphor for how the government raped his country. So I mean, all right, that's how you depict that. That's an interesting way to depict that. But I don't recommend it because it's oh God, I could barely get through what I saw of it. I've seen worse. I made it a point to watch like the most just disturbing movies, and unfortunately, boy, have I seen my fair share of them. But this one was definitely like, oh God, like it was so bad. Even thinking about it, like I'm getting visuals, and I'm like, I'm tearing up because it's just so just gross. And I think he said it was an evil movie. Totally agree. Why do I watch these things? Why do I put myself through this?
I have no idea. We've got a few messages to play. Let's get through these.
Yes, this is the thread that I never knew I needed until now. And I'm going to come out with a very controversial one that not a lot of people are going to like or agree with. Fight Club. I didn't like Fight Club very much at all. Didn't like the fact that Tyler was a figment of the imagination. That pissed me off. I'd rather him just be real. So, yeah. I know that's extremely controversial, and I'm sorry if you like the film, but yep, Fight Club. That was one of them, certainly. I'm trying to think of more now.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever met anyone who didn't like that. I'm going to put air quotes twist.
It's one of those movies that the whole movie is so strange that the ending actually makes sense, even though it's somewhat off-putting. You go, yeah, I guess that makes sense because the whole movie is just, it's a mind fuck, you know.
Oh shit! What's that movie with John Cusack where they're at the hotel and
1408.
Identity.
Oh, Identity. Okay.
That's another movie where it turns out that like all these characters are in one person's head, but you know that throughout the whole film. But the ending is revealed who like the evil quote like character is, and it doesn't make any goddamn sense because the killer identity is the little boy, which doesn't make any fucking sense because in theory he has all these, he has dissociative identity disorder because he was abused as a child. So the child in him should be the most innocent character, or you're just saying that he was always evil and that like it's a good thing his parents abused him because that suppressed the killer. Like, what the fuck message is that?
I know. All right. Did you want to pick one more film and then I'll do one and then we'll wrap this whole thing up?
All right. Hard choice. I'm going to go with one of my all-time favorite movies, It's a Wonderful Life.
Ha. Oh, Mr. Potter. Mr. Potter. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Mr. Potter. The Mr. Potter of it all. It's one of those movies where, you're getting George Bailey's life, and then he encounters Clarence after he's, contemplating taking his own life for the life insurance of it all. And something that's always bothered me is that Clarence shows him what it would have been like if he was never born. He doesn't show him what the actual issue is, and he doesn't show him what it would be like if he actually died that night, which is what he should have showed him, because that makes more fucking sense. And further, when it gets to the end, George Bailey's buddy, Mr. Hee Haw guy, wires him some money, and then a bunch of the people around town that he's helped throughout the years give him money as well. And they're trying to give you this idea that, like, friendship and community is more important than money, and that's real lovely. But these people are all poor, and now they're more poor, and Mr. Potter's up $8,000 in 1945 money, which, if you use an inflation calculator, is like $110,000 today. So the poor stay poor, the rich get richer, fuck this movie. And it even breaks the Hays Code, which is, it was made during the production code days, in which the bad guy who breaks the law, which Mr. Potter did, cannot win. And they let him win. Because originally Clarence was supposed to go see Mr. Potter, and Mr. Potter was supposed to have a heart attack, but they thought that ending was too dreary, so they make him scrap it, which breaks their own rules. The bullshit of it. Yeah, so it ends on a happy note, but it's not happy. It's not a wonderful life. It's a fucking miserable life, and it is a allegory for society then and today.
I mean,
Rant.
does Mr. Potter win, though? Because it seems to be George Bailey and all of his friends come out on top. Mr. Potter's
Absolutely no.
Mr. Potter's just like that guy that, like, he doesn't, how do I phrase this? It's not like they kill him off or he, is put in captivity or something.
His drive is for one thing. That one thing is money. And what does he get at the end of this movie? More money.
Right.
That's what he wants. That's what he gets. And again, this puts all these people that gave George Bailey, the money to make up for the $8,000 so he doesn't get in trouble with whatever commission.
Right.
These people, again, they don't have a lot of money. So now Mr. Potter is probably going to be able to get some of those people back into his poorhouses. And,
Right.
They're going to stay impoverished and he's going to stay on top. Mr. Potter 100% wins. They just have, the joy of friendship as they suffer, which is another like conspiracy and propaganda that our country freaking propagates, in that this whole idea of, if you, I'm going to stop. It's a whole thing. Bah humbug, I say to this movie. Bah humbug. It is not a good ending. It is not a wonderful life. It's a bullshit. I do love the movie, though. It doesn't sound like it, but I do.
Oh, Mary, you want the moon, Mary? I'll get you the moon, Mary. I'm going to throw out one more film, and that is one of the most recent movies I've seen. Actually, maybe the most recent movie I've seen, The Little Things, with Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. It was a good movie. And then the ending happened, and I won't spoil it because it is so new. I don't want to give the ending away just in case you're listening to this and haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. But to me, the ending, it was one of those, I like where you're going, and then we get to the end and the characters do things that aren't necessary. Like they've been in the, like the, how do I phrase this? The actions in which one of the characters goes about doesn't necessarily go against the character because it's inherently in the character. But if you go watch the movie, you figure these people are, they're trying to evolve slightly, I guess, or like maybe have an arc or learn something or take something away from this. And the ending happens exactly like it does. Then you learn something that has been foreshadowed throughout the whole film. And you go, really? I mean, especially with everything that's going on in society today, that's the route you're going to go? Are you fucking kidding me? Now I understand why the movie didn't do well. Its Rotten Tomatoes score isn't very high. Most other people were disappointed in it. It really woofed the ending. It just, have you seen it yet?
No, I'm not going to, though.
It's yeah, it is what it is. But I don't know. That's what I will end with, is The Little Things. I just really did not care for it whatsoever.
That's unfortunate.
Yep. All right, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody that messaged us in. If you like what you hear, follow us here on Stereo. We both also have YouTube channels. Me and Lego, we do our reviews every single week. We're back at our old time slot tonight. Until then and afterwards, where can everybody find you at, Lego?
I can be found on pretty much every social media platform at Legoland13. Probably best to follow on YouTube or the Twitters if you would be so kind. That'd be super cool. Thumbs up.
That would be great. And you can find me everywhere at Rob Fishbeck all over the place, all over the internet. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. We will talk to you soon. Lego, we'll talk later.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Take
Have a
it
good day,
easy,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.